The Omnitrix gets the wrong aliens for Ben over and over and over again through every single iteration of the series. But why? And trust me, whatever answer you got before today, it was wrong. And today we go through every possible reason for every possible Omnitrix. The Omnitrix was created to give a fresh outlook on lives of every alien species possible, but ends up becoming a weapon instead of a high-tech personalized citizenship visa. Ben Tennyson, the second choice for the watch, ends up using it for hero work. And no matter how many times the watch updates, he always has the same problem. He gets the wrong aliens even when it is shown that he's selecting something else. Some theories I have about why Ben gets the wrong aliens are similar to what the community has. One being that he just slams the watch too hard, which is a solid theory. And you know what they say, you gotta treat the Omnitrix like a woman.
Go on.
No.
And I think this might be what causes the classic Omnitrix to give us this malfunction. You see, in the very first episode when Ben gets the Omnitrix, we get to see him make 4 on-screen transformations. Yes, all of 4. 4! And for 3 of them, we see where Ben actually turns into the aliens, and look at how he pushes down on the core. He's a lot more gentle, but fast forward to the Kevin 11 episode, we see where Ben actually selects 4 arms and slams the watch like he's trying to break a limb, and gets heat blast instead. In other iterations of the watch, we have seen Ben slam the watch like it's nobody's business and get the intended aliens. But for the most part, that is only true for the watches that go beyond the prototype Omnitrix. Once the watch recalibrates, Ben never mistransforms for 2 whole seasons, until the start of a very fated event. Ben and Kevin hack the Omnitrix in the episode Pack with a Vengeance, Part 1, and boy do they do some stupid stuff. However, a key moment in that very episode happens during the hacking process. Revert the Omnitrix back to the prototype form and then recalibrate it once more. This was a humongous mistake, and after 26 episodes of perfect alien transformations, Ben gets his very first wrong one, with the display showing exactly what he was intending to go for. So the recalibrated Omnitrix ended up suffering from greed. And as I bring up greed, that reminds me to talk about the greediest, sweatiest, nah I'd win ever watch created, the Ultimatrix. This watch was a very ambitious venture with the goal of putting Ben 6 feet under. It gave Albedo a strong combat advantage, and when Ben stole it, that transferred over, but so did the problems. I personally believe the watch was shoddy work, and the wrong transformations malfunction came right over with it, and we can visibly see Ben select correct aliens and then get the wrong ones nonetheless. Now, I have 2 potential ideas as to why this happened. Now, it could be that the Ultimatrix synced with the now defective recalibrated Omnitrix and then gained the faulty transformation settings, or Albedo just did a crappy job. Either reason works for me. But one thing that is indeed true is that the Ultimatrix wasn't built like Azimuth's magnum opus, the perfected Omnitrix. Now, this watch is devoid of most of the problems that come with the previous versions of the Omnitrix, but Ben still gets the wrong alien all the time, and it feels like he gets them even more often than how he used to before. That had me wondering, is this where slamming the watch returns to cause more problems for the Omnitrix? Luckily for us, Azimuth told us what slamming the watch's core actually does.
Then stop banging so hard on my Omnitrix. The impact sets the timeout function to a random... Hello?
You see, it randomizes the timeout function, which means that his alien transformations could last longer than they usually do, or last for an even shorter time period. So if it isn't slamming the watch, and this Omnitrix is literally perfect, what could it be? That brought me to an interesting comparison as to who else mistransforms besides Prime Ben. Let's talk about the alternate prototype watches. That would be the Gwenitrix, the Omnitrix Blue, and the Reboot Omnitrix. Now, for the Gwenitrix in both Classic and the Omniverse series, we could see that Gwen actually never mistransformed, and out of 8 different transformations, she has never made a mistake. But what about Ben 23? He is a lot more like young Ben Prime, but with Mr. Beast's fame and money.
Mr. Beast!
But to my knowledge, this 13-year-old has never mistransformed. Like, ever. So that only leaves Reboot Ben.
Humongous sword!
I mean overflow!
And yeah, it seems that he has the same problem as Prime Ben as well. And that brings us to the final part of this theory. And Derek J. Wyatt, the art director of Omniverse, holds the key to that answer. And he states that it is a Ben Prime problem. You see, when Ben mistransforms, it could be a number of user interface issues. Whether it is where Ben actually slams the core of the watch that ends up changing what he has selected, in turn giving him the incorrect aliens, or it could be that Ben makes an incorrect preload. This can be best seen when Ben flips the Omnitrix and transforms without any visible selection, and chances are that Ben just selected the wrong alien from beforehand and ends up turning into something else. And lastly, it could be that Ben is just sloppy, from just selecting while not looking at the dial, or just spinning the selection option without checking first. Could also lead to the wrong alien. We can also compare the completed Omnitrix with other completed watches, and we get to see where the watch itself does not have this problem. And when we also compare the completed Omnitrix, no alternate Ben with a completed watch actually mistransforms. And here's where I wonder, how do we truly solve this problem for good? Ben honestly needs to be more careful with his alien selections, and has to put emphasis on being precise, like he was in the earlier parts of Alien Force or Classic. The problem with Ben is that he's too laid back and comfortable sometimes, and it clouds his judgment and his ability to get the right aliens. And that's why I think Azimuth added an extra feature that Ben was unaware of. New completed Omnitrix has what seems to be a mind of its own, and it gives Ben not just the aliens that he wants, but the aliens that he needs for that situation. And I think this was a lot more important for the future of Ben Tennyson, as it has literally saved his life more times than we can account for. But do you agree with my reasoning? Let me know in the comments, and click here if you want to know why the watch recalibrated.